Afenyo-markins atimi akasa after Obuas incident. No abushame some few days near and the shootings be atimi ekukọ so Obuas ema nipa atimi fa mu ehwe omo kwa.
His people are suffering. There's lawlessness in his backyard. It couldn't have been that you of all will forget it and not even table it for discussion. That is my concern. Although you are on your way to the Ministry of Finance, but do something for the records. Do something for the records. Mr. Speaker, it is unacceptable. All the killings, all the lawlessness, Mr. Speaker, this country, all of us, all of us, all of us. Mr. Speaker, they're killing my staff. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Violence must stop. The violence must stop. The violence must stop.
After shootings were no emafo bebre na natimi edomo no atumu nipa baako a watimi edina no atumu watimi akasa na watimi akshe government say on investigation about all these issues no Afenyo-markins a on minority leader abusha ensam Afenyo-markins ekan dey na ensam no edorso.
2 years ago we celebrated 30 years of democracy with a lot of activities. Mr. Speaker, it must never be said that this country still tolerates lawlessness and violence. I was expecting my respected colleague, Dr. Fosu, to have found space to introduce this subject matter at the business committee, to even propose that, colleagues, I have heard of violence here, violence there. So, as a house, we should even constitute a bipartisan committee to look into the thuggery in our nation. The majority leader has decided not to talk about this. Just last week, Thursday, the Electoral Commission was ready to finalize the Ablekuma North collation process. What did we see? Some thugs invaded the EC office, threatening lives, destroying properties. Mr. Speaker, this is unacceptable. It puts a black spot on our beautiful democracy. Maybe today it is benefiting somebody, but tomorrow the same thugs that we are encouraging them to be lawless may come back at us. Mr. Speaker, the government cannot pretend not to be aware of this. The Electoral Commission as a constitutional body needs protection. The police, headed by the respected IGP and his team, must do all it can to protect the EC. We are aware of the good work they have done thus far. But this is a 276-member chamber. We are 275. The Electoral Commission, in a statement, has said that it is ready to finalize. But thugs are preventing it from doing its work. There can't be any more silence on this matter. I call on Mr. President to take charge and call the thuggery out. Mr. Speaker, we know that Mr. President, in his records in this house, was known to be a peace-loving Ghanaian. Mr. Speaker, indeed, his calm approach in addressing media issues was what endeared him to the heart of Ghanaians. So without doubt, I may disagree with him, but I know he's a peace-loving Ghanaian. At Jubilee House, maybe he may be too busy to read the newspapers or to watch the news. But I am taking advantage of this platform, the Chamber of Parliament, to tell Mr. President that there is violence on our streets. The thugs are destroying the gains we have made as a country, and this must end now. Issue 2.
Ministerial veterans no etimi ekoso enra na enra nipa mienu a yetimi evert omo say me pese e ka ho asem no eye Emelia Author a oye Shama MP.
In your manifesto, the Blue Economic Commission, what is that? Please.
Thank you very much. We want to look at fisheries and aquaculture in broad terms, and so now there is the concept of blue economy, and blue economy refers to sustainably exploiting ocean, sea resources for economic growth, livelihoods, jobs, and what have you. So we want to look at fisheries and aquaculture just beyond just people going to fish, catching fish and selling. We want to look at fisheries and aquaculture in a broader sense. And blue economy refers to or has many components, and one component is fisheries, the other component is bioprospecting, the other component is mining under the sea and all of those things. Now, what we want to do with fisheries is to set up a blue economic commission that will be working to look at how we situate fishing beyond the narrow sense that we see it now. So we will be establishing the Blue Economic Commission.
Different from the Fisheries Commission, that is a regulator?
Yes, yes. So now the Ministry of Fisheries and Aquaculture has only 2 agencies, Fisheries Commission and the Premise Secretariat. If this comes on board, then we are going to have a third one called the Blue Economic Commission. And who knows, maybe when it's set up and we begin to go into it, we'll realize that maybe we have to merge or something. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Don't worry, we'll go to the regulation aspect.
Now, Abusham, there is brain and then there is brain. Now, after saying it, Emelia Author, no, you compare Emelia Author to how Kumsi.
Fish farming is the process of rearing of fish in reservoirs and the fish ponds, etc. Thank you.
Honorable, please, I said, what are the advantages of fish farming?
And one advantages of fish farming is it makes the farmer earn some income. It also increases fish in our community for consumption. Thank you.
Now, Minister for Aquaculture and Fishery. Now, we show me Emelia Author, so Minister, also Minister designated for Fishery and Aquaculture. And after that, you compare Omumi, no, a man for social media, also the Abusham, meet me and share with you, our Hanamo, who bet me aquaculture release and some new and some of the annual. You compare Emelia Author to how a cooks no Abusha, just say some annual.
I have gone through your CV, and before you took your oath, I had told you that I had read your CV. Before I get into some specifics, share with Ghanaians all that life has taught you. Share with Ghanaians.
Wow. Thank you. Life has taught me a number of things, both from the academic world, from practice and just from experience and how life happens to one. So, for example, though my first attempt at representing the people of Shama was 24 years ago, I waited and worked patiently towards it, and 24 years later, I am a member of this house representing the people of Shama. In that period, I can write a book. Academically, after University of Science and Technology, I took an interest in community development because my national service posting took me to a community where there was real poverty that you could actually see and describe poverty. But the 1 year of national service there changed some things for me, after which I decided then not to pursue my line of training, but so I rather go into community development. So I started working with an NGO that was called CEDEP, Center for the Development of People, because I thought that was where change would occur and human dignity could be restored. After a while, I thought, where can this be? So I went into consulting, and I consulted widely for DFID, USAID, for German Development Services. I consulted widely in the hope that I could influence the development organizations, programs for my country, Ghana, and the people of Ghana. And then I asked myself, I'm not sure I'm seeing the change that I want to see. So I asked where the change would be, and I thought it was politics. So in 1998, I returned to full-time political work, still going along with my consultancies. In the process, I was admitted to Yale University as a Yale World Fellow. It was actually structured as a postgraduate program. I've been to India. I did a research, 3-month research at Institute of Applied Manpower Research. All I'm saying is that as Emelia Author, life has taken me through local work, communities. Life has taken me through working at regional level, Africa region level, globally, and almost every corner of the world. And that when you wait, good things happen. And that also, when you actually focus on bringing change to people's lives, it might be painful, but then eventually it happens. I am a happy girl that life has brought me where I am today. Thank you.
Now we should be first now, just a month for Elkan someone can say, Elizabeth or Fosu Ajare, na Enra. Abusha, Ghana, and Bow, yes, I didn't know just say there is sense in. Hey, Abusha, me who they mention pool, I wish I would see veteran, and brand team veteran Elizabeth, Fosu Ajare, you put it in summer, and as a question, say to me, Abusha, and answers are ultimate man. Abusha, that lady is a fine brain, just say, I'll train our home anchors.
I know you do an awesome job. I have worked under you and the Ministry of Tourism, and I know you do very, very well. As the Member of Parliament for Commander, Edna Iguafo Abrim, I want to ask you about Commander Sugar Factory. The last government tried to make it into a white elephant. What has been your brief on Commander Sugar Factory, and what is the way forward?
Thank you very much. I've had a quick
nominee. You can proceed to answer the question, but take away the white elephant aspect of it.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. White elephant is duly taken away. I have walked quickly through the ministry by a briefing I received about Commander Sugar Factory. I've been told that as we speak, it is not operational. And one of the major challenges the factory has suffered was the lack of raw material to feed that industry and some missing parts. I've also been told that monies were released to solve these problems. And the total health of the factory should be done after an evaluation. And so I will work to ensure that we know the actual health of the factory. But it's obvious that we need that factory to work for the benefit of Ghanaians, because we are importing about $500,000 worth of sugar into this country. And so once I take office, I'll work together with the ministry to ensure that we assess the health of the factory and do whatever it takes to put the factory on stream by whatever means to ensure that Ghana benefits from that monumental project.
Madam, how long do you foresee that it may take for us to operationalize this factory? I have paid a visit to the place. Everything is intact, and we are ready to see it operational. So what is the timeline that you would give to the good people of Komenda, Edna, Eguafo, Abrem?
Thank you very much for the question. The answer is expeditious timeline. Thank you.
I want to find out your position on 1D, 1F. Do you believe in that concept? How it has helped Ghana? Are you going to continue, or you are going to discontinue?
1D, 1F is a program for Ghanaians by the government of Ghana. It has its pluses and minuses. For the pluses, the 1D, 1F set up factories where individuals could add value to our raw materials. And these agro-producing factories started, but because of some challenges, they've not been able to do what was expected of them. One key challenge I have been briefed from the Ministry of Trade is the fact that these factories lack raw materials. And we know that one big challenge in the agro-processing industry is lack of raw materials. So these companies have not proceeded the way the government intentioned it to be. Again, even though government supported them with some inputs, they lack capital. And because of lack of access to capital, they've not been able to do their work as expected of them. And if you look at the other 1D, 1F companies that signed on to the program, their major challenge is the fact that you recall, Honorable Chair, that government capped their interest rate at 20%, and government promised to pay 10% for them, which was a very good program. But somewhere along the line, the interest rate shot to 35%. So now the problem the companies have is who pays the difference of 15%, because they have already sold their products calculated at an interest of 10%. And one thing government has also not been able to do is to pay the extra 10% that it promised these manufacturers. They also have the issue of raw materials, and we know that issue of raw material availability did not start today. It's been there for long, and it has worried our industry. That is why our industries have not grown to the levels we want. So these are the challenges of the 1D, 1F, but there is always a solution to problems. It is good that it has started. Now that we know the challenges, how are we going to solve it going forward? I see the solution in the 24-hour economy. Because, Honorable Chair, in the 24-hour economy, businesses are going to receive incentives. In the 24-hour economy, agribusiness is going to play a key role. And in the agribusiness role, we are going to do commercial contract farming. The commercial contract farming is going to solve the raw materials problem to a very large extent. In so doing, these factories that have signed on the 1D, 1F, I'm sure will sign on the 24-hour economy and get a benefit of the raw material availability. They'll get the benefit of the tax holidays. They'll get the benefit of the stimulus packages they will get. And I think that it is Ghana. These industries are not political. They are looking for what a country can do for them.